you seeing on that punt return when you caught it?
Shoot, green grass. I just made the most out of the opportunity. The core guys, the hold-up team, the corners, they did, a great job on that play. So that's something we repped, and they went out there and put they're all 10 toes down on that play, and just made the best of it. So I celebrated that punt return with those guys because it wouldn't have got started without them.
Were you able to see Chazz's block on the punter on that?
Oh yeah, that was a great block. Shoot, I already knew he was gonna take him out for me. I just had a two-way go, so I kind of slowed down a little bit, let him make that block, and after that it was the promised land. So, hell of a job to him. He's been working hard every day, and seeing him on the field and that being the last block I kind of needed. I kind of knew it was a touchdown from the jump. So.
How about the initial block Nehemiah made? End up taking
the
guys out.
Oh yeah, it was great. Nehemiah, he's working his tail off. Like I said, everybody on that punt return unit, we've been working really hard, and I got none but faith, and kudos to those guys because they go out there and they perform, and getting the opportunity, it shows on what we've been practicing, and it's nice to see that come to life.
You get a minus for even fielding that on the 5-yard line?
I kind of do, but I had space, and I kind of feel like I had the little green light there, and I don't know. I just saw an opportunity, and it was a rep that we worked on, and I just wanted to make the best out of that.
They tell you that's the longest punt return in franchise history?
Yeah, they did, and that was crazy. It's actually funny 'cause I came to the sideline talking to Bobo, and I was like, man, I'm still gassed from that punt return. And then I looked on the little iPad, and I was like, that was 95 yards. He said, yeah, it was. And I was like, no wonder I'm so tired. I was like, I just ran the whole field. He was like, man, he said, go get you another one. So, but that just goes to show, you're not, you dialed in, and you just trying to make the best out of opportunities. Just stacking one block at a time. And for me, I didn't know that was the longest punt return. I didn't know how far that was. I was just so amped about the blocks that those guys made, and how that opened up for me.
Tory, on the receiving touchdown, that seemed like the Saints had pretty good coverage there. What can you say about the throw from Sam and just the chemistry that you've already established with him early in your NFL?
Sam is a hell of a quarterback. He put that ball on the money. That's something that we kind of worked on a little bit here and there, and he's on top of his game. He see a little crease, and he's going to put it where it needs to be, and that's something that you want from a quarterback. And he's still his smart, just that awareness and smart mindset on the field kind of takes that place. And it was a great ball. Shout out to Sam, and shout out to that O-line for holding up, because they don't get started without the O-line. So shout out to those boys.
Well, you had a couple good returns on punts in the preseason too. What is it about that part of the game that you think kind of your skill set kind of marries up for and makes you a good punt return?
I don't know. I kind of go back to my baseball days of seeing the ball in the air a little bit, and kind of just working with Coach Friss and those guys, make sure I get clean fields and things like that. That's something I needed to work on. And once the ball's in my hand, it's kind of reading blocks. Really kind of take me back to my youth self of just that little game of sharks and minnows. That's something that I kind of try to bring back. And you gotta weave through something you just gotta knife through, and just try to find little creases to help those blocks out.
Tory, a year ago, you're dealing with the injury, college career ends prematurely. What are you most proud of in yourself of being able to respond from that and for the performances that you have here early on?
I'd probably say just silence the doubts. I had a lot of doubt going into the combine. Just that whole thing, and finally get to prove myself. Just going out there and competing. That's something that I really am proud of myself by, and it's a huge kudos to my family for making sure I keep my head straight and not getting too down on myself, because those times can get really difficult for an athlete when you're dealing with injuries and this adversity that you got to kind of fight through. And getting out of that and being ready to go back on that field, it feels great. So silence them.
Similarly, how validating is it for you that you're doing this already and that it has come to fruition like this?
Oh man, just everything I kind of worked for. It's just those lonely nights in the room. Just back in my dorm apartments in college, just saying, man, I can't wait for that next step of overcoming this injury and getting back to myself. And it's kind of just falling into place. Just having that trust, just keep believing, keep taking one day at a time. Just taking recovery serious and things like that, and it's kind of falling into place now. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.